All right, my friends. Today's guest is one of Nashville's true rock soldiers, a guitarist who's carved out an incredible career in a town not exactly known for its hard rock scene. I'm talking about Jeremy Asbrock, a man who's gone from the Nashville club circuit to sharing the stage with absolute rock legends. Jeremy first made waves with the Big Rock Show alongside Ryan Cook, which evolved into the now legendary The Rock and Roll Residency, the band that put rock and roll squarely back on the Nashville map. Their weekly gigs became must-see events featuring an unbelievable list of guests: Alice Cooper, Derek St. Holmes, Kip Winger, Mark Slaughter, Rachel Bolan from Skid Row, Rex Brown from Pantera, Sylvain of the New York Dolls, and Lizzie Hale and Joe Hottinger from Hailstorm. That buzz led to a major break. Jeremy and the guys were tapped to back Gene Simmons from Kiss, and before long, Ace Frehley, the spaceman himself, came calling, recruiting them to join his band. And we are very lucky to have Jeremy here today, man. And first of all, I want to send out condolences, man, because Ace Frehley was a huge inspiration to everybody out there. And you know, man, it was your gig.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's weird that it's still weird to me that like people would say that to me. Like, well, I'm sorry for you too. I mean, I'm sorry for all of these people. We all lost our guitar hero.
absolutely, man. And you know, it first of all, I want to, today's going to be kind of a tribute to Ace, but also, a tribute to the hard work that you've done over the years in getting to that point, dude. It's really pretty incredible because we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
And you were slugging it out, playing clubs and keeping the rock and roll thing going. But how did that how did that turn into getting to work with Gene Simmons?
That was because of Big Rock Show. Big Rock Show, we're doing all of the Kiss cruises, and the pool stage is right out in front of all of their rooms, so they're gonna hear us.
Yeah.
And uh, Ryan had a pretty good reputation with Doc and in the Kiss camp, so when it came time for Gene to do something, he thought about Ryan. I'm not sure exactly why, but he did, and he knew Ryan could lead a good band and you know navigate what Gene needed him to navigate responsibly. And so I was kind of a shoe in for that one because I was already in a band with Ryan and we both loved Kiss together.
Yes. And learning, thinking about all the tunes that you guys learned, I
See,
mean,
that's the easy part though. Like, man, I've been listening to Kiss since I was 4, and Ryan had since he was 7. And Phil, when he was a teenager, he was a little later than us, but man, like all of those songs are part of our DNA now. It's like you don't even have to learn them; they're part of us.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, asking me to play Kiss songs is the easiest gig you can give me. There's not an easier gig I could have.
Yeah. Now, and so it was said by Ace that he stole you guys from Gene Simmons. Is that how did that all?
No, well, that's not exactly true. So we were doing a tour of Australia, and Gene was headlining, and Ace was opening. Uh, Ace asked Gene if he could use us because it was going to be too expensive for him to bring his band over there, and he was going straight to Japan from Australia. And Gene told him that he didn't care as long as he asked us, and we didn't care. And that's a pretty easy yes from us.
Yeah.
But I don't know, about halfway through that Australian tour, the Kiss cruise was coming up a couple months from then, and Ace was playing that one. Uh, Gene told me that Ace was going to ask us to do the cruise. I asked him how he felt about that. He said he was absolutely fine with it. And yeah, he did. He asked us to do the cruise.
How cool is that, that Gene, would realize that ultimately for you guys, it's a great gig, it's a great opportunity.
I
And
think that so the Kiss End of the Road tour was starting. Let's see, 3.5 months from then. So I know Gene already knew that he was going to be unavailable for a pretty long time, and it gave us a place to go where we would stay employed, and yeah, it was a totally cool move. But
yeah,
Gene was very instrumental in that happening, along with some people in the Ace camp at the time also.
that's amazing. And can you give us some idea of what Gene was like as a boss?
The best. He was so fun. He liked to hang out. He liked to play practical jokes. He liked to have dinner. He liked to have breakfast. He liked to be one of the boys and hang out.
Wow. Wow. That's something that people wouldn't think. I
Yeah,
mean, there's a
he
lot
can
of
he can take a joke too, man. I remember the first time I had to give it back to him. I was scared to death, but he just kind of did one of those. And like, oh, okay, okay, I can lighten up. He's not as hardcore as everybody thinks he is. I mean, he's still a pretty intimidating figure, but he's not going to chew you up and spit you out.
yeah. Yeah, that's not every gig is like that. Some gigs the side men have to just be quiet while the boss rips you a new one, and
Yeah,
cower on the bus or cower at the hotel or whatever. But man, it sounds like Gene was an amazing boss.
he was the best.
And when you did those gigs with Gene, is that all backline, like
Yeah, yeah, all fly dates, backline, and same goes for Ace. Like only when we would play like the Northeast area would we use his backline because he lives in Jersey. But for the most part, no. My whole life has been rental backline for the last decade.
Can you give us some maybe some stories about, or some tips for dealing with backline amps?
Well, my first solution was to get a Kemper, and we did travel with Kempers for a while with Gene because a lot of that was international work, and you just don't know what you're getting. The thing that set that off was we played Monterrey, Mexico, and I had some solid state Marshall. I'd never even seen a Marshall like that. It could have even been a fake Marshall. I don't know, but yeah, out there in the world, you get some pretty weird stuff. So Kemper was the solution for a while, but then like with Ace, we're doing mainly the United States, and there's all pretty reliable Marshall amps out
Yeah.
there. So I kind of just quit bringing it. I didn't really need it.
Yeah. When you specify amps, do you specify a super lead or a JCM 800 or?
Just 800 or 2000. I mean, sometimes there were other things, but man, honestly, like any tube Marshall, I can get what I need out of it for Ace's set for
Yeah.
Kiss songs. Like my effects were minimal. I had a flanger for Rocket Ride. I had a lead boost for the Detroit Rock City Harmony solo, and man, honestly, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And something that I used to do with backline is I would always ask for two of whatever I needed, and
Yeah.
that way, if one blew up during the gig, you could just plug in the other one. I don't know. Did you guys do anything like that?
Well, luckily, Ace's backline was like all Marshall stacks. So, there was, one, two, three, four amps just on the front backline alone. And then, he always had two or three back there for Ace. Ace was using 2000s. So there were plenty of Marshalls around.
Yeah. And you would at sound check probably go plug into this one. I don't know. Let's try this other one over here. You would have some
Yeah,
time.
sometimes. Yeah, man, Brad, I'm really not that snobby, man. Like I would be a guitar tech's dream come true. I'm so easy and just, like, oh, is that good? Yeah, it's good enough. I can make that work.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I guess it also depends on what you're playing. Like for playing rhythm guitar in Ace's band, it's just not complicated. It's
yeah,
not complicated sonically or musically.
yeah,
So, as long as you got a workable rock guitar sound,
yeah,
you're not fucked.
yeah. And would you say that's more of like a crunch tone as opposed to, the modern gain kind of
I
tones that you?
definitely don't do modern gain. I dial it in a little more 70s. There's some gain in there, but it's backed off considerably.
Yeah,
I'm definitely more about a good amped up 70s tone than
yeah,
like a gained out 80s tone. And then again, it also depends on what you're playing. Like
yeah,
Ace's music is predominantly like 70s guitar rock. So, if it's too gained out, it doesn't sound right.
yeah, yeah. And as far as these amps, how loud were you guys playing on the floor, both Gene and Ace?
Well, Ace plays at stun. It is the most painful, ridiculous loud I've ever experienced in my life, and the reason I started wearing earplugs. It's just complete insanity. He's got two cabinets behind him aimed back at his head, and then three monitors in the front, and the inside is guitar, and the two outside wedges are vocals, and it's all just like blow your hair back loud. Uh, but having said that, I I did not turn up around that because I kind of figured if I got too loud, well then he's going to want to turn up more.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I made sure it was just like comfortable,
yeah, yeah,
because like I, I I use the whole stage, but I'm not like one of those back and forth, back and forth, back and forth guys. I
yeah,
mean, we're on wedges, so
yeah,
we're not on in ears, so you can't go to the other side of the stage and it sound exactly the same.
yeah,
So I kind of hung in my world most of the time, and I could hear over there.
yeah. And would you say that the older school guys like Ace, I mean, they came up in an era where the stage volumes were just on a whole nother level.
Crazy side fill, yeah. We got side fills up there. Yes, it is. It's fucking old school, and it's loud.
How do you think some of these younger kids would feel getting up there and experiencing something like that?
They probably think, why are these old dudes playing so loud? And it's like, well, kid, because we blew out our hearing with
And
these
and how would the
100-watt
sound
amps.
guy? How would the sound guy react? You guys travel with your own guy?
Yeah, so for many, many years, we had a Night Bob. Night Bob's famous for mixing Aerosmith in the 70s and Ted Nugent, and he did Kiss in the 80s. And I mean, he is an old pro.
Yeah,
Uh, Bob's a master at mixing really loud, and it's still sounding really good. We've had Randy Mueller out with us for the past 2 years, and I'm not really. His mixes are good. I don't know if they're as loud as Bob's, but then again, I'm not out the front of house either.
yeah, yeah. Would you notice the audience with that much volume coming off the stage? Would you think that the audience feels that? I mean, it's probably less guitar in the mix because there's so much coming
Yeah,
off the
because
front of
it's
the
coming.
stage.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But man, when I see these people in the front row, oh man, oh my God, I feel so sorry for you.
That's the way it was, man, back in the day. And I talk a lot about on this channel about how the magic of playing through a loud amp like that and having the reaction of the amp with your your body and your position and everything on stage. And that's something that a lot of young guys that are coming up now will never get to experience.
It's true. And like I said, I used that Kemper for years. And man, look, they're great. They're cool, especially for recording. But man, you can just tell a difference with a real amp. There's something a little more electric and alive and magic
Yeah.
about what's coming off of your fingers and going through those wires and tubes and transistors and stuff that, I don't know, ones and zeros simply cannot reproduce.
Absolutely. And man, talking about Ace, what was Ace like as a boss?
Laid back. He let other people do the stuff he didn't want to deal with, and he just showed up when they got him there, played the show, did his meet and greet, went back to the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably no sound checks, right?
Well, we did a sound check. Ace normally did not come to sound check. He would surprise us every now and then and come, but for the most part, his guitar tech Rocco dealt with that. But sound checks were a lot of fun. We got to jam different
Yeah.
stuff, non-Kiss stuff, Van Halen or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And how about Gene? What was his protocol for sound check?
He also did not come to sound check. Uh, Gene did not have any road crew. We were the road crew, so like we had responsibilities delegated. Like Phil would take care of tuning Gene's bass and make sure his whole bass world is set up. I would take care of set lists and lyrics for Gene, and Ryan pretty much took care of every single thing else.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you tour managing then Ryan
Yeah,
probably was the tour
yeah,
manager. Did he book the flights and all that kind of stuff?
he did.
That's a major job, man.
Big time.
Dealing with the back line, sending the backline stuff back, and
Yeah.
then the local promoters dealing with them, and you
And you also
send.
have to stop and think that most of our shows are not in the United States. So there's a bunch of, countries where English is not their native language.
Yeah.
It's got to navigate through that. Yeah. Ryan was good at that.
What about is can you tell any wild stories from some of these overseas kind of experiences? Anything stand out?
Uh, Nothing particularly wild because, everybody's old now. Uh, Arriving in Bolivia. So nobody from Kiss had ever been to Bolivia. And we arrived at maybe 4 in the morning. And then, when we came through customs out to where, like general population is, it was like 300 or 400 people there. And
Wow.
we walked out and it was just like Beatlemania, people going out of their minds. And we're just pushing carts with our luggage, like bewildered.
4 in the
It was,
morning,
yeah,
right?
it's just a trip to see something like that through that lens. Like I'm sure Gene had seen it before. It's like, yeah, cool, neat. But for us, like, and
Yeah.
people knowing your name, screaming
Yeah.
your name, and you're like, I'm in Bolivia. How do you know my name?
Yeah.
And then, Bolivia is a really high altitude, and the airport is at the top of this mountain. And you go down these windy roads to get down to La Paz, and we get to our hotel, and there's people waiting there that I had seen up at the airport, and they somehow beat us there with our police escort.
Wow.
That that was a trip.
Would you say that the South American audiences are probably the wildest, right? The most
Yeah,
into it.
that's not just a rumor.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody every time you see a show and it's Rock in Rio or something like that, you just go, did you get a chance to do anything like that?
It was nothing that big. The La Paz show was pretty big. I don't know, it's about 20, 30,000 people, I think. Uh, it was freezing outside, but having never seen a member of Kiss live in the flesh, they were pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Buenos Aires stands out though. I mean, that venue wasn't even that big, but just like people singing the riffs, like they were
Wow.
singing the riff to Deuce louder than we were playing it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was,
And they had your Marshall stacks there.
yeah, from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, that's wild. What about Australia? What was it like to go down there?
uh, Australia was really cool. The culture shock wasn't so extreme because they're an English speaking country, and for the most part, like their culture is not that much different than ours. It's just a trip because it's so far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when we went there with Gene, uh, we flew from Quebec City to Toronto to Vancouver to Sydney to Adelaide, and then went straight to the stage.
Wow. That's something that I try to tell people. A lot of people that have never been on the road, they think it's easy doing this kind of work.
No,
And
you're
what
just exhausted all the time.
you're exhausted and you're traveling, and then all of a sudden they're like, go, go, go.
Yeah.
You gotta run out there. And sometimes you're running up on stage and you're wearing the clothes you had on last night, and and you're surviving off of whatever food you can get, and sometimes that
Yeah,
can.
which is mostly garbage. I mean, like, it's too bad pizza's not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, we ran into each other, out in the country. That's another thing people don't know, that before the rock and roll residency and all that, I mean, you had gone out with some country acts and
You
done
know,
some
I,
stuff
I
like
I
that.
did that. I did that for 3 months. That was me doing what everybody told me I needed to be doing. So I gave in and I did it, and I did not enjoy it,
Yeah.
and that was occupied my life from June 2013 to September 2013. Also happens to be my greatest take this job and shove it moment of my life.
Can you tell us anything about
I,
that?
I won't tell you who it is. You
I think
probably,
I know. I think
yeah,
I
I
know.
think man, I just didn't like the treatment. They really kind of got off on this superior, we're the boss, we need to have a meeting in the back of the bus type shit. Man, I ain't doing that. Like, that's not why I'm doing this. That's a job.
Yeah.
And I play guitar. I don't, no way. So Big Rock Show had a show coming up, and we were talking to this agent, and I subbed out one gig, and they told me that we needed to have a meeting with the manager, and I knew what it was going to be like. I knew what it was going to be about, and I was just like, yeah, okay. So we get in there, and the manager's like, okay, well, who wants to start? And I said, I'll start. Big Rock Show found an agent, and you need to find a new guitar player. And then one of them looked at the other and said, I don't understand. And the other one looked back at him and said, well, Big Rock Show found an agent, and we need to find a new guitar player. And that
And
was it.
and that was it. That's how it went down. Well,
Yep.
you cut them off at the pass.
Oh, man, that felt so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine, man, because dude, there's so much, nothing against those poor bastards in the country music business. But for us rock and rollers, man, it's like country music kind of elevates a certain level of performer, right? And then they have to hire a bunch of musicians to play their music out on the road. And usually the guys that are backing these artists are usually better musicians than the guys that they're supporting. But all of a sudden, you're placed in this subservient role. And, you either have to play the game and try to ride it out as long as you can so you can make a buck, or you do what you did and find something else to do.
Yeah. Man, I've played with a lot of different rock guys, and I don't know, man. It's just it's a different thing. The treatment is different. The attitudes are different. And man, there is nothing wrong with it. I have a lot of friends who make great livings playing with these people. And, they're not all like that. And I
Yeah.
realize that. I just, look, man, the goal wasn't to just play guitar for a living. That's only like a fraction of it. I have like fucking eat ate, drank, and breathed rock and roll my whole life. So that's where I feel like I always felt like I needed to throw my weight. I was,
Yeah.
it's not being a snob about it. Like I said, when I did that, that was me listening to what other people thought I should be doing, and then man, the whole time I was there, I was just like, I don't belong here. I,
Yeah.
I feel I feel so out of place right now.
It's a tough place to be, man. And I'll tell you, country music didn't used to fool with guys like you and me until they started realizing we need rock guitar players to fill out these arenas, and
Yeah.
it's a tough place to be in because they're still wanting to hear the twang and the chicken picking and and all that stuff, but what translates in arena is a big power chord to fill that space.
Well, man, also like we come from a generation. It's like a post Garth Brooks generation where he took country into an arena, and then like people our age liked rock music, they liked rap music, they started liking country music. So like you put all this stuff together, and you get like whatever it is now, like country themes with dudes rapping and rock riffs under it. It's
Yeah.
just a big stew of music.
Yeah, man, it's changed a lot, and but here's the thing, man. You carved out something, and I remember going to see you with the big rock show, and I would go see that show, and then that kind of morphed into the rock and roll residency, and then I remember being at that Irish pub
Yeah.
the night that Alice Cooper showed up. Can you tell us something behind the scenes about that?
Yeah, so I mean that was kind of worked out. So when we started the show, Chuck Garrick was part of our weekly thing. Chuck is Alice's bass player. He had just moved to town, so he was like new guy that we wanted to hang out with and play with. And uh, so we were only going to do the show for 1 month, and then after that month was up, they asked us to just stay indefinitely. And Chuck was leaving to go on the Motley Crue final tour because Alice was the opener. And they had a night off. I can't remember if it was the night before their show or the night after. I kind of feel like it was the night after. But he had already worked out to have them jam, like have the band, at least the band, come jam during that night off. And Alice wanted to do it too, and so we went ahead and had the show, and then they all showed up, and then they played a 30-minute set, and then Alice came up and played like I don't know four or five songs.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
that's one of the only times where me and Phil left the stage, because every other time like we played with whoever it was. That was the
Yeah,
only time I think that we let somebody take over our stage.
yeah. I remember being in the audience, and I remember hearing a rumor that Alice Cooper was going to show up. And I remember being there, and then all of a sudden I saw these headlights like kind of aimed, like he had pulled up or something. And then he came up on stage. And I remember, I think he did Satisfaction by the Stones, I think. And he did a Doors song. I don't remember if it was Roadhouse Blues or
Yeah,
something.
honestly, I don't remember what he played either.
Yeah, but I remember kind of being, I remember the Doors song because I'm like, well, he used to hang out with Jim Morrison.
Yeah, the whole thing was like supporting the Hollywood Vampires thing before Hollywood Vampires became like a band with a lineup. And it was like a covers album of all like dead rock stars. So it was all
Yeah.
like, I kind of feel like he played a Who song. Yeah, there was a Doors song.
It
Maybe
was pretty amazing. And I mean, you guys had always had great guests, right? But that just seemed like that catapulted the thing to the next level. It got in the press.
yeah, it was in USA Today the next day. It was the thing that put us on the map, like nationally, like almost internationally. And then we started doing cruises and stuff, and that gave us an international audience and a bigger national audience. Also, I don't know. It just like it grew so organically.
Yeah.
There was nothing we did to like. We didn't really try to elevate it into this thing. It was all just stuff that was just happening naturally.
Yeah, I remember, man, and you guys, it would be packed. What was it, like a Monday night or something like that?
Tuesdays.
Tuesday, it was Tuesday nights. You're packing this club, and this club, I forget the name of it, but it was
Well, when we started, it was called Dan McGinnis,
that's it, Dan McGinnis.
and then it changed to Harp and Fiddle, and then Tailgate Brewery bought it out, and then they got rid of the whole Irish vibe, and that's pretty much around the time we wrapped it up there.
Yeah,
Also,
my experience was Tailgate destroyed the vibe of the whole
totally.
place. Dude, I went, I think the first night that you guys played as it when it was Tailgate. And I remember walking in to the bar and it was bright white.
Yeah, and you're like,
And
ah,
I'm like, dude, I'm like this. And then I'm like trying to order a beer and they don't have anything that I recognize. And I'm not a guy that drinks like IPAs and stuff like that. I need piss
same here.
beer. I need piss beer, something that I can drink 20 of and still be standing. And so I'm like, I can't get a decent beer. It's like the atmosphere in here is horrific. And but you guys still had a packed audience out there. And this is a point that I want to make to people out there about the music business. You guys have a built-in audience, a built-in thing on a Tuesday night, which is a tough night for any club to have packed, especially in Nashville, off of
Yeah.
down the
Well,
road from.
they did have to take us in the sale. That was like honestly a little bit of the agreement.
And so what was it? How many weeks did it before it was like, okay, we're out?
I can't I can't remember. Uh, the main reason we left though is because they were getting fined $500 every time we play for noise complaints. I mean, if it weren't for that, who knows? We might have stayed, but at the same time, we kind of outgrew that patio.
Yeah, yeah. You built it into this huge thing, and then you guys moved on to like the Cannery and some
Yeah, the
different
Mercy
places,
Lounge.
Mercy
Eh,
Lounge and all that. And man, it's a testimony to building something that you want to do, and it launched, man. It launched a lot. I mean, Phil Schaus he's playing with Accept now.
Yeah,
It's
and before him, it was Christopher. Like Chris, the first time Accept played with Christopher was at our show. That was the first time I think they saw him play too. Uh,
wow.
Sarah Tomek got her gig with Steven Tyler by playing "Lord of the Thighs" by Aerosmith with us. Marty Fredrickson saw her play it, got her number from me, and she got the dream gig.
So a lot of people got gigs out of that. You guys got gigs. You guys ended up on the road with Gene and Ace and doing all those cruises and all that. Can you give us an idea of what it's like to do those cruises?
Uh, well, when it starts off, it's a lot of fun. Like you don't have any responsibility except playing your show, and it's the greatest. And then you get you get about 5 to 10 cruises in, then they lose their luster a little bit. And then they can become a little annoying, and then they become fun again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You're just like hanging out. It's like camp. You meet all these bands you become friends with. Fans turn into friends that you know stay in touch with,
Yeah.
and you know it's just like this big mutual admiration society
Yeah.
on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And then you just add alcohol, and
How
sometimes
about
it
the
can
bar
be.
tabs? The bar tabs. Did you guys get a free bar tab or?
No, you don't get a free bar tab. But depending on the cruise line that you're working with, sometimes bands get half off. Sometimes they don't get that. They just get the drinks, you know, for the rider at their show. So that I don't know. That all depends on a bunch of different factors.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, people fans get real generous. Fans always want to buy you a drink. I learned to keep that under control. Now
Yeah.
I've seen other people have some jaw dropping tabs at the end. Like, how did you do that? Like,
Yeah.
how much did you drink?
Yeah. Dude, I did an oldies cruise. I did a few of those with like the 60s like bands. And I got $300 for doing the cruise, and I had a $600 bar tab in the week. So that's why I had to ask about that.
I'm one of the guys that keeps it in check. I don't drink a lot, even when I did drink more. Like I don't know. I've always kind of kept it in check. Now I've been in bands with other guys who didn't necessarily keep it in check.
Yeah, and then if you're buying drinks for people, that it adds up quick. I mean,
Yeah,
those beers on those boats are not cheap.
no, and the gratuity's already in there, so it's
Yeah.
like, you know, 750, 950, and then $10, $12, you know, all day, every day.
Yeah, it can be brutal, man. I just I learned that the hard way.
I've done about 24 cruises, so I've got that shit down pat.
Yeah, yeah, you know what to do now and what not to do.
Yeah, don't ever party on your last night, and make sure you pack before you go to dinner on the last night.
Why would you suggest that?
Because doing that stuff in the morning is the worst.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to throw your stuff in the bag when you're hungover
Oh man, it
and
is the
then having to
worst.
wait in line in the heat.
Uh,
It's
I've done
not
it
good.
all ways.
Yeah, exactly. Man, this is all great info. And, I want to talk about now what's next for the rock and roll residency, what's next for Jeremy Asbrock, and where do we go? Where do we go now? In the words of the prophet Axl Rose.
So the rock and roll residency, I don't really know. That's having to line up 4 tour schedules, and Acceptor are doing their 50th anniversary next year, so
Yeah.
Phil's going to be pretty tied up, and he's leaving for the Queensryche Accept tour. I don't know, next week or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. Who knows? Just whatever we can pull one together.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far
Uh,
as
uh,
me, I don't know. I'm now currently unemployed and in transition to whatever my next thing is. So I'm available.
Yeah. That's well, we'll send that out. These vibes. I don't think it's gonna be long before you find yourself because didn't you just do something recently with Ricky
Yeah, I did.
Rocket?
I played with Ricky Rocket this past weekend with Rocket Mafia. Their guitar player Mick had knee surgery and had some complications come up with the healing. So I just filled in for him. I'm going to Europe with John Corabi in February, which will be fun. That's a good band he's put together.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I don't know. There's nothing that's like, you know, the big steady gig.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it's what you do as a musician. You live and die by your calendar.
yeah,
And here's the thing, man. It's something else will always come through. I know you probably know this. I never panicked when I looked at the calendar and went, "Oh crap." I mean, it's tough this time of year. You guys with Ace, how many dates did you guys have?
man. Honestly, this past Saturday would have been our last show for the year, and then we didn't have anything until the end of February. As of now, I know that there were some dates in January. I know there was some stuff on the table, but just never got finalized.
Yeah.
But
What about, isn't there a tribute or something going on for Ace? Are you guys gonna do something
there
with
is
that?
so at the Kiss Cruise on Land, Kiss Cruise Landlocked, whatever they're calling it, the thing in Vegas next week. Uh, Ryan and I were uh, doing the live record, well, most of it anyway. So, but we've added a tribute to Ace onto that as well, and Scott from Ace's band is going to come join us, and then Zach Throne, who was in Ace's band in 2022, is going to play with us too. So you've got all guys who were in Ace's band,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're going to do a bunch of Ace songs. I think we're going to have a couple guests, but yeah, because like we didn't really get to wrap that up properly. We didn't get any closure. It was just like, oh, cool, I'll see you next weekend. Oh, wait, maybe I
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah. How did that all go down? I mean, all of a sudden we just started hearing that, dates were canceled and you know,
Well, he had the first fall, and that was the Lancaster, California gig, and that was canceled. And he was okay. I talked to him that following Thursday, and he was doing good. It's like, all right, cool. I'll see you next weekend. Okay. And then the next morning is when he took the fatal fall at his house, down his steps. And I got a call that day that that had happened and that everything was going to be canceled until further notice because nobody really knew how it was going to go.
yeah.
And then it just didn't start going any better.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, man, they kind of shut all communication down, so nobody really knew what was going on. Like when you got silence from the band, and even Eddie Trunk is like, I don't know, like seriously, nobody knew.
Yeah. Yeah. It just seemed like it was like radio silence, and no, and I think that's why a lot of people were shocked, because no one had any idea how serious this was. When you hear falling, you think, oh well, I fell and you got a bruise on your knee, or something like that. But
I figured the silence was going to be noticeable at a certain point, but it wasn't my place to say anything. I was instructed to keep my mouth shut,
yeah.
and then I went on vacation in the Smoky Mountains and didn't have any service anyway, so I had
Yeah.
to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah. how
But
did how
everything kind of hit all at once. Like he had passed away on the internet before he had actually truly passed away. But when we did find out, it was about 30 minutes later that the Rolling Stone and Variety announcement came out and made it pretty real.
Yeah. And how difficult was that? One minute you're on stage and you're playing with somebody, and then you get news like that. I mean, I don't even know how you process something like that.
Uh, it was pretty tough because there's a lot of factors involved. I mean, we're talking about the person that laid my path when I was 4 years old, the person that like put me in front of all of this, and to like wind up in a band with him, and like kind of friends. I mean, me and Ace weren't best friends, but we talked occasionally, and we would talk about real stuff. He's been vulnerable to me, you know. to that kind of closeness, it's just a little more impactful than say like when Eddie Van Halen died. Like Ed, we both love Eddie Van
Yeah.
Halen. He's also responsible for this path, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah. You didn't get to hang with Eddie Van Halen. You didn't
Yeah.
get to talk to him and share the stage, but
So it hit me a little hard. I knew it would hit me when the day came, but it hit me a little harder than I thought it would.
yeah, I don't think anybody thought that this day would come. I mean, Peter Criss is still, he's got an album coming out.
Yeah, I know.
And I think people thought because you don't hear anything from Peter Criss, people assume that Peter Criss, it would have been maybe the first to go before Ace. Ace was still out there, and from what I had heard, he had planned to play until the wheels fell off.
Yeah, and honestly, man, he was in pretty good health. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't done by any stretch of the imagination.
What would be your favorite moment looking back on your time playing those shows with Ace?
Usually playing the Detroit Rock City Harmony solo. I mean, that's like a high point every show. I mean, to get to do that back to back with the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty amazing, man. And would you take time to realize how surreal that moment was?
Yeah. Man, the gravity of all of this has never been lost on me. I mean, I know how lucky I am to have played with two of the original members of Kiss. Not just two of them, but the two cool ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think and you gave me an idea when you told me about your tribute that you're doing with some of Ace's band, ex bandmates. What if you did a thing called the Spacemen? And it was a tribute to Ace. That might be something.
If somebody could book us and get us a guarantee and all that stuff that comes along with playing a show, I'd do anything.
Who's the guitar player? The New York guy that Ace played with. His name escapes me now, but he's a known New York rocker guy. I think you met him on one of the shows.
Richie Scarlett.
Yes. What was it like hanging out with him? Is he a wild dude?
I wouldn't really call him wild. No, he's honestly, he's kind of laid back. He's super cool, kind of a Keith Richards vibe.
Yeah. Maybe you get all you guys together and book it. I mean, like you said, if you can find somebody to book it, who's the booking agent that kind of is the proponent for like a Gene or an Ace or
well, Gene is him. Gene has no manager, no agents. He does everything himself. Ace has a lot of different people in the hierarchy. He did have an agent, and hey, look, man, agents are the ones sniffing out the money, so
yeah,
they know how to find us.
Yeah. If you could think of the acts that are out now, and you could pick what gig you would want to do, what gig would it be? Foreigner, dude, that would be pretty epic. They've got a new singer now.
Yeah.
So they're ready to go, right?
Yeah, they're a good band, man.
Yeah. I mean, I like the singer they had, Kelly.
Yeah.
Before, and now this new guy, he sounds really good. It seems like they're gearing up to just go for another 10 years, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Do you know anybody in that camp?
We've got some mutual friends.
Yeah. What any other gigs you can think of?
Man, I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of like my gear taste. I'm not super picky, man. I'd be just any great classic legendary band that has a good catalog of songs and you know a band of good musicians
Yeah. What about
that
Robert Plant?
well sure that'd be fantastic.
All right, Robert,
I,
please get
I
in touch.
I might be a little too rock for him now.
Yeah.
He's pretty folky these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I think that all of that you've done, all the work that you've done, and this is you could say that you were playing the music that you loved through the rock and roll residency and the big rock show and all that, but it's also an amazing amount of networking because of all the people that
Yeah,
came in and
that's
out of that.
honestly kind of one of those things that inadvertently happened. I've never really been like a networker. uh, I just kind of did the stuff, and networking happened along the way while I was doing the stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And there are other people that do it the other way. They network a lot
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know try to nurture that before
Yeah.
any music has happened. And there's no
Yeah.
right way or wrong way. Like
Yeah.
that way works also. That's just kind of not really how I am. I'm a little more shy than that. I'm not,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
putting myself out there. I'm not, you know, one of these guys that's filming myself play all the time. And not that there's anything wrong with that
Yeah.
either. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just there's no right or wrong way to any of it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you've made a great point. There's guys that can either work the phones, and we both know guys. I know guys that do their Rolodex and they're constantly on their phone and hey, what's up? And they're constantly trying to get in on something. And then there's guys like you that were playing these gigs, and just because you're sharing stages with people and they're seeing that you're prepared for the gig and you got a good attitude and you're on time and all of that stuff, that's another form of networking and making these connections. Then you've got the third type of guy that I talk about on my channel, but there's a lot of guys that just, and some of them don't, they're not even the internet guys that just play a million miles. There's guys that think that they can just sit in a room by themselves and practice scales all day, and that someone's going to magically pick them out of the candy jar and whisk them away to their private jet.
Yeah.
And
And who knows, man, maybe that method works too. I mean, I know that some superstars get discovered that way. That just goes along with like there's no right way or no wrong way. Do whatever way you think you need to be doing it. And I mean, there's no guarantee in any of this.
yeah,
That's why
yeah,
there's no right way or no wrong way.
yeah, yeah. There's no contract on a road gig.
No, people have asked me that, like, like, do you have a contract with Ace? I'm like, I don't think anybody has contracts with anybody. I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe like Taylor Swift's band or something, but like,
I'm not even sure they do they?
yeah,
Probably.
yeah, they probably do. That's a pretty huge operation, but just like on our level, no. And
Yeah.
the artist cancels, like, no, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
It's like that's why it's called show pay. If there's no show, then there's no pay.
Yeah. Yeah. And show pay, and on a gig like Aces, would there be per diem?
Yes, yeah, we got per diem.
And so people understand that per diem is just some walking around money, just in case you need to buy
I mean,
a
yeah, cup of coffee or there's usually lunch and dinner at the venue, but that doesn't always work out for the band that has to shuttle back and forth from the hotel to get ready for shows and
yeah.
just not be hanging around the venue all day.
Yeah. And that's important that people understand that. I mean, yes, how many, I mean,
But you hang
reality.
out in airports a lot, and if you're hanging out in an airport, then you're spending money.
Yeah. Very expensive. That's the downside of fly dates. Now, I personally, if I had a choice, I prefer fly dates over a bus, but it does have, like you said, it does have its ups and downs either way. If you're on a bus, you're not spending any of that per diem. It's all
Right.
bus stock. It's all beer that's brought on or whatever. And the per diem just goes in your pocket because you got nowhere to spend it. But, fly dates, airports can be exhausting, air travel, dealing with, getting your gear from point A
The
to
whole
point B.
travel thing is exhausting. And I mean, like we do fly dates and, like you said, there are pros and cons. And, with fly dates, you get a hotel room every night, which
Yeah.
I, I do kind of prefer that. I do like that. I like being able to shower in the morning when I wake up, shower before the show, and go
Yeah.
out show ready. If I sweat a lot, then I can shower after the show too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a pretty clean guy, so
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
like my showers in my space.
Yeah. And that's something, when you're on a tour bus, my experience is, man, getting a shower, dude, if you're a side man, it's like, you're almost on your own, right?
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I'm trying to think of the pros of the bus, but honestly, like I just generally prefer flying in hotel rooms and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, you can go straight to bed. You don't really have to. Yeah, no, I'll take the planes in the hotel room.
Yeah, the planes and the only maybe downside is backline, but the good thing about backline is you don't have to maintain it.
Yeah, uh, yeah, they're contracted to show up with working gear. So
And here's the other thing: if the gear doesn't work, it's not my fault, bro.
exactly,
Backline.
exactly.
But these country tours, you got to provide your own rig. You got to maintain it. If a cable or a simple thing, something goes wrong, they're looking at you. They're not looking at the backline guy. You don't have any excuse, and they don't pay you for any of that. I mean,
No,
you're spending thousands to make hundreds.
no. If you blow an output transformer or something, like you pay to get that fixed. They
Yeah.
don't pay to fix that for you.
And there goes your weekend pay, right? I mean, because that's an output transformer install, all of that. And it's not like they go, oh, give us the bill, we'll help you out with that.
No,
There's none of that.
no. That's where I guess endorsements definitely come in handy.
Yeah. Can you speak on endorsements and the benefits of that?
Well, the benefits are not paying for stuff if that's the deal you have, especially strings, man. I mean, for guitar players, the string deal is the most important for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I've done it all ways. I've gotten free guitars. I've bought guitars. The guitars I play now, like my Les Paul, I paid for that one, but the Firebird I did not pay for. That was given to me back in 2007, and I had it painted, that sparkly blue one that I have. I've got my own signature strap, so I mean, I don't really pay for those. I sell those.
Yeah.
Uh, Picks, I mean, I get a deal, but I still pay for them.
Yeah.
Shit. I love to throw out picks, and I throw out a lot of them, and
Yeah.
so it's just like there's 7 cents, 7 cents, 7 cents for you, 7 cents, 7 cents. Here's 7 cents. Have 7 cents.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you
it's
have
really just about the strings.
did you have Jeremy Asbrock, Ace Frehley, flip flop picks?
I've done stuff with an Ace theme before. My current pick does not have any Ace themes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, this has been an amazing conversation. I want to thank you so much. You're a dad just like me.
Yeah.
We're old dads. I've got my kid in the other room. You're probably going to have to go pick yours up pretty soon.
Yeah.
But man, this has been amazing. and I have no doubt that you will be on to something cool soon.
Thank
And
you.
if you want anybody to connect with you or check out your music or anything like that, where would you like to send them?
You can go to any of my socials, Jeremy Asbrock. I don't have any fancy names or anything. Rock City Machine Company is streaming everywhere. Check it out. That's a project that I did with Ryan Cook and Phil Schaus with Marty Fredrickson. Turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself.
I
And
will put those links in the description of this video when it posts. And we'll send everybody to go check that music out and check you out. And man, I wish you Godspeed in your future and keep rocking, dude.
thanks, Brad.
Thank you
Great
so
chatting
much,
with you.
brother. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too.